when I tell you a little squeal left my body when I opened up this book last night. I did not expect to be getting an arc of this book, let alone a personalised arc with my name on it. This is Want by Gillian Anderson, as in Gillian Anderson, the legend from The X-Files, from Sex Education, from many other fantastic things, and I have an arc of her new book. This is an anonymous compilation of sexual fantasies of women across the world, including Gillian Anderson's own anonymous sexual fantasies, and I'm just so excited about this. This just exudes sex positivity. I'd seen it about the place in advance of receiving this. I didn't know I was going to get this. This just rocked up on my doorstep, but I'd seen it about the place and already thought it was such a great idea to kind of break down the taboo barriers that still surround talking about sex and fantasies, especially women talking about fantasies as well in any kind of space. And I just love the fact that this is in my hands right now, so I'm going to definitely be diving into this a little bit in this vlog. I am currently reading something that is also exuding all the sex positivity and breaking down the taboo, and that is Experienced by Kate Young. These two are both about the wants of women, so I feel like this is just perfect timing for me to receive this arc, so thank you so much Bloomsbury Publishing for sending this through. Experienced. Let's talk about this one. I am halfway through this. I was reading this in last week's vlog. If you do want to watch that and get my first thoughts on the first half of this book, I will leave a link above. This is following our main character, who is going on a little bit of a journey of sexual experience. She is being kind of pushed into this situation by her kind of partner. So she is seeing somebody. It's following Betty. She is seeing May. Betty is quite newly out as a lesbian, and May has had quite a lot of experience. And May thinks that she's kind of holding Betty back by her being the only woman she's been with. So she tells Betty to go and basically get these experiences, and they'll have like a 3-month break. And Betty doesn't really want this, but that's what happens. And Betty like tries to go and get these experiences, despite not really being quite sure what it is she wants from it, and feeling quite strange about it and not necessarily enjoying the process of doing it. This book is all about those experiences, but it's also about like the kind of relationship she is in with May and what that means for her, and what, like, whether that's good for her or not, and why May is pushing her to do something she doesn't want to do in the first place. There's a lot of interesting conversations happening around it there, but it's also so sex positive, and it is following Betty as she does go on this sexual discovery journey. This is so sexy, it's so sensual. Honestly, the sex scenes are so hot in this book. There was like a whole chapter dedicated to one specific sex scene, and it was so intimate, it was so real feeling. I love real sex scenes. I like the sex scenes that just feel genuine and not too over the top, not too fantastical. That's personally what I prefer, and if you like those kind of sex scenes too, then read this book, because it has got them aplenty. There is so much sex positivity. This is such a fantastic story. I love the LGBTQIA+ characters that we have in this. It's such a brilliant queer space. I love the Bristol setting. I am having such a good time with this book. Enjoying it so much. I'm also reading Ashley Poston's new book as an audiobook. I can't remember what it's called. What's it called? I'll put the cover on screen right now. I started it last night. I'm about 35% through, and honestly, I'm not loving it. I am not loving it. I really enjoyed The 7-Year Slip, and I also enjoyed The Dead Romantics. 7-Year Slip was my favourite. I also listened to those as audiobooks, and they were really good audiobooks. I'm not quite clicking with this one as an audiobook, which is a shame. This is following our main character, who somehow stumbles into the world of her favourite book, which sounds like a really fun idea, and that would be so cool, but it's not really exploring it in the way I wanted it to at the moment, and I'm just finding it's a bit flat, and the narration feels quite jumpy at the moment, so I'm not loving that. I'm going to keep going with it, but it's not my favourite, which is a shame, because I was really looking forward to the release of that. I'm really hoping it picks up, because at the moment it's just not hitting it. I'm listening to it on BookBeat. If you do want to receive a 2-month free trial, which is 40 hours of listening, and try it for yourself, let me know what you think. There is a link down below. I think Ashley Poston's other books are also on BookBeat, so you can check those ones out. I would definitely recommend The 7-Year Slip. That one I really enjoyed. I get to watch Battle Royale tonight as well, which I'm really looking forward to. My friend's coming over. I have seen it years and years ago when I was back at uni, but it's our Patreon book club pick for July and August, and I read the book a couple of weeks ago. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I absolutely loved it. It was so good, and I've been waiting until my friend and I are both free at the same time to watch the film, because it's pretty much fallen out of my brain, so I'm really excited to do that tonight as well. If you do want to join in on our Patreon book club pick at any time, by the way, there is again a link down below to that, and I'm actually starting my own tiny book club if you would like to join in on that. It's basically going to be focusing around reading books that are like around the 200 page or less mark, so it's a little bit less daunting. It's going to be a weekly book club. No, it's not weekly. It's going to be a monthly book club. Oh my gosh, if it was weekly, it's a monthly book club, not weekly. There's a link to that below as well. So many links. I'm going to get on with my day now. Bye. I've been away from my flat for nearly 2 weeks and I got back last night. It's been very, very warm in England at the moment and some of my plants have suffered, including my peace lily. She is not doing too good, but I think she's going to spring back. I've got her in the sun, I've watered her, I think she's going to be okay. She looked a lot worse than this last night, but I have had a few plant casualties. My Calethea had also gone really droopy, but I think she's perked back up again. I think I do have to accept the death of this one. I should have just brought this with me because I brought back my herbs, which I've left at my mum's, and I'm going to repot them there because it's just easier. They have a garden. I do not have a balcony. But yeah, my lemon balm, I think I'm going to have to throw that one away. I do want to get a new one because I think that's a really lovely plant to have. But all the rest of them, the other like 48, are doing well. I'm pretty sure I can hear thunder. I kind of thought it was the road, but the sky's getting a little bit gloomy. I have about 50 pages left of Experienced. I really don't want this book to end. It's been such a comfort read for me. I've just been enjoying it so much, and I think I'm going to finish it tonight on Patreon Sprints. I also am going to try and finish A Novel Love Story as my audiobook. Really not loving that one. There's just something about it that's just not clicking for me. I feel like the story feels really disjointed. It's got a lot of potential, the idea of being thrown into a storybook, especially your favourite story. I'm also currently rewatching Once Upon a Time, which is obviously the same kind of concept of, in a way, being thrown into a storybook. And I'm enjoying that a lot, and I feel like that is kind of keeping me for the concept of a novel love story, but compared to Ashley Poston's other books, I'm definitely not enjoying this one nearly as much. I've also just been designing some graphics for the Tiny Book Club, which I am launching this Saturday. It'll already be live by the time you're watching this, and I'm so pleased with them. This is how they look. Look at this little logo thing that I made. So I've just been working on that whilst listening to my audiobook, and then I'm going to do a little bit of reading on Patreon Sprints all night. So yeah, I definitely think, I'm definitely going to finish it. I've been putting it off, but it is time. I finished Experienced, and I also finished A Novel Love Story. One I enjoyed a lot more than the other. Experienced, 5 out of 5 stars. I think everyone should experience this book. I just thought it was brilliant. I thought it was so important of a journey that we were following our main character on through her sexual discovery, and also everything else that was happening with her friendships, and just generally the path that her life was moving down. This is incredibly relatable in so many different ways. As somebody in my late 20s, experiencing life and seeing everyone experiencing at different paces and all the pressures and stresses that come with this. I loved how open and honest this book was about sex and sexuality. It just did it all in such a brilliant way, and I just really loved it, and I highly recommend checking this out. I can't praise it enough. I think if you are even a little bit intrigued, just pick it up. It's just a really good time. It feels very wholesome in places as well. It just feels like the perfect adult, contemporary, romance, queer, self-discovery journey book. So go pick it up. I gave A Novel Love Story 3 out of 5 stars in the end. I feel like that book was just the definition of average. I was a tiny bit invested, I cared a little bit, but I didn't care too much. I found the main character just not really fleshed out enough. I didn't really care about her enough. I did like where we saw her end up. I liked the journey that she went on there, and I liked the fact that this was also kind of about her moving on from a past relationship and the wounds that she held from that. I did like those aspects of it, but I think that I wanted a bit more from the setting. I wanted a bit more from this bookish world, and I felt like it just didn't really hit in the same way because it didn't have enough of that. I think there were a couple of references in this book to previous Ashley Poston books, which I quite enjoyed. I like things like that, like the little crossovers, but just generally I think that what Ashley Poston had done here was created a fictional world and then created another fictional world within that fictional world, and it just didn't quite work, unfortunately, for me. But I know that a lot of people have loved it and a lot of people have not liked it, so there's a real split here. But yeah, 3 out of 5 stars, so I'm very middle ground for this. It was just fine. Also, I did start a bit of Want last night. I'm going to just be dipping in and out of these. There's so many different letters in here, anonymous letters from women across the globe, and it's broken up into different sections as well. So the part I'm reading at the moment is called On Fantasies. So there's also Rough and Ready, To Be Worshipped, Off Limits, The Captive, Kink, Strangers, loads more. And it's just written in such a lovely way because you've got all these different women's voices telling you their fantasies and just breaking down this taboo. I really liked the introduction. There was a part in it, Gillian Anderson obviously written the introduction and has said, "This speaks to the gendered way we understand fantasies. The contributor in this book, both women and genderqueer people, know what it means to have their voices and wants downplayed within a patriarchal society where the fantasies of men take centre stage. The wider our spread of voices, the more we can really understand how women and genderqueer people feel about their sex lives today." And I just love the fact that it is breaking down the taboos and allowing spaces for these fantasies to be talked about as well. So I'm going to keep dipping in and out of this, but I am going to wrap this vlog up here. So thank you so much for watching this vlog. Thank you Bloomsbury for sending me a copy of this book. I am so excited to keep reading it. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one.